I'm Leslie Waters. Now there's nothing better than a homemade pie, and this one is divine, full of rich flavours and topped with a heartwarming pepper crust. We're going to make our own pastry, which is really easy and well worth the effort. So we've got some plain flour here, and we're going to add some pepper to this, which will give it a really wonderful flavour. I'm not going to add salt because the butter that I'm using is salted butter. The trick here is to make sure the butter is really good and cold. And don't be frightened of making pastry because you can't beat it, and this is so simple to make. And just use your fingertips. Try not to use your whole hand, because then you just warm everything up. Now this recipe will serve 4, but I'm just going to make 2 pies for you today. Now, you can see that's almost there. If you've got a few big lumps, if you give the bowl just a gentle shake, they sort of come to the top like magic. It should look just like breadcrumbs. Give your hands a wipe, and now what I'm going to do is to add the wet part of the pastry. And we need an egg yolk. We don't need the white, and we need some cold water. About 2 to 3 tablespoons. It's always better with short crust pastry to sort of add less than you think. If you add too much, then you make it sticky, and it tends to get overworked and can be quite tough. So I'm just going to add this now into the pastry. Put your hands in and then just bring that together first of all. It just sort of needs to come together quite roughly. Try not to overwork it. Put it onto the tabletop and then just get it into a rough round like that. And then press it out. Wrap it with some cling film, and I'm just going to pop this in the fridge for about 15 minutes to rest. Okay, let's make the sauce for these delicious pies. We're going to be using red onions for this, and we want them quite chunky, so don't chop them sort of into tiny pieces, into nice sort of chunky rustic wedges. In go the onions. Give them a little shake. Make sure they're covered in all that lovely butter. Lid on. And what we're going to do now is create some steam and temperature right down. Look what I found in Lidl. I found some mousse steaks, and it's a bit like sort of venison and beef, very, very low in fat and very, very tender. So all I'm going to do is cut these into sort of thick finger strips for my pie. I can hear my onions simmering away there. I'm going to take a look at them. Onions contain a lot of sugar, so what you're trying to do here at the very beginning is, rather than browning them immediately, you're trying to sort of get all of that sugar to come out of the onions. And then once that happens and they've gone soft, then you can turn the heat up and start to caramelise them. To the pan now, you've got the juices of the butter, but you're also going to sear your meat really quickly. So you're going to use a little bit of olive oil. A little bit of seasoning on your meat. And in it goes. This is really quick. You're not cooking it, you're just searing it. 30 seconds. That's enough now. Put it straight into your pots. And then return your onions back into the pan. You don't want to waste any of those juices from the searing of the mousse. Now you're going to add a pinch of sugar, flour, give it a stir. These are so rich and heartwarming, these pies. And just cook that for about 30 seconds. Now you want to add the rest of your ingredients. Some red wine, splash of balsamic, and some stock. bay leaf. There's quite a lot of sauce in there at the moment, and what you want to happen is for it to bubble up and reduce down and get really rich. Okay, my pastry is nicely chilled and relaxed, and I'm now going to roll it. So start off first of all, some flour underneath. Take your rolling pin, and you just want to push it out first of all. Keep turning it and making sure you put flour underneath so it doesn't stick. Then gently, with an even sort of pressure, start to roll it out. Now you need to get this 2 to 3 millimetres in thickness. Once your pastry is ready, you want to take your pie dish and you want to cut the tops out quite a bit bigger than the actual pie dish with a sharp knife. And just cut out some free-form stars, and these will be for the top, for the decoration. Now you just want to get that delicious sauce over the mousse steaks. Look at that, look how shiny and rich that looks. Okay, let's get the lids on. So a little bit of water, first of all, just round the edge of your pastry. And then you just want to pick that up, and the water is going to be like glue. We're just going to place it over the top. And then just use your hands just to push it down gently. And we're going to glaze this now. We're just going to use egg yolks and a little bit of salt. Just make a little nip in the top. In the bowl here, I've just got some egg yolks. Be really generous when you're brushing it over. Don't forget your little stars, and don't make them too small, otherwise they'll burn. And don't forget to glaze the stars. Now we're ready to cook them. They won't take long, about 18 minutes, 15 to 18 minutes. You're just waiting really for the pastry to crisp up and go gorgeous. The pies are nearly ready, and I'm going to serve them with creamy mash and lovely buttered cabbage. Just stir fry it with a little bit of butter. Creamy mash. Oh. Pies are ready. Going to break into one. You know what would go really well with these? I think some Cabernet Sauvignon. Full-bodied and fruity.